Well, hello, everybody, and happy Monday. I am so excited to be jumping on live here today with you on Monday to talk to my good friend and sister, Savannah. So I'm jumping on early so I can tell you a little bit about her because I know she's not going to want me to introduce her in front of her. But I had to literally write some things down about Savannah so that I picked up the big things because this young lady is dynamite. She's a superstar. And so I'm really excited to be able to share with you some things about her as we are in this series this month and a little bit of next month. Well, I will be pulling in some professional women that walk with integrity to just share them with you. And I'm excited today that Savannah is going to be the one that we share. So just to tell you a little bit about Savannah as she's getting ready to join us is that she earned her Master of Public Administration from the University of Georgia. I guess go Bulldogs. That's not my team, but I'll say that for her. And she also graduated from Furman University with her Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies. And Savannah has been honored by Spartanburg's 40 Under 40. She's been named the Girl Scouts Woman of Distinction as a young professional. And the focus was youth development and community impact. She has led the Spartanburg academic movement out of school time, the OST collaborative since 2019, in which it supports a community-wide network of youth serving organizations. And so this effort last year actually reached over 3,000 youth through just high quality after school summer programming and really advancing equity and access to those middle school and high school students across the county. And so she has cultivated so many different partnerships. She has done a ton of things. And of course, her work over the last, couple years has brought in over $500,000 to really push and support young people in that area. She's a Riley Fellow of Furman University, which is a Diversity Leadership Institute. She's an alumni of Leadership Spartanburg. I am too. I love this, Savannah. And also of the High Potential Leaders Institute. She has spent years working with especially young girls. She loves young girls. She loves to be able to support them and to pour into them. And I love that. And so I want to bring Savannah in because we are right on time. I can see that she has joined. So now I just need her to go ahead and request Savannah to jump on in, and then I will pull you onto the video. Savannah is somebody that I admire, and she is much younger than I am. And so I am all about supporting young women as they're on their journey as professionals to be able to push them, to be able to put them out there, to give them tips and tools that I did not have. And some of the things that I've learned over these last 3 years that I wish I had those things in my pocket back then, but I have those things in my pocket now. And so now that I've picked up on some tools and have some tools in my tool belt that I didn't have in my 20s and in my 30s and even in my early 40s, I'm excited to be able to share some of those things with them now. So I'm about to pull Savannah in and we're about to get started. All right, Savannah, you should be jumping in. Let's see here. I can see it. I can see your request. There she is. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Look at me and you trying to go live.
I know. I was trying to go from my computer and I'm on my phone, so it worked out.
Oh, I love it. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you. You make me smile as soon as I see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for giving me this time on a Monday. And we're jumping in as people are at lunch. And if you come back later and watch this on the replay, we're just saying thanks for joining us during this time. And I've already introduced you because I wanted to kind of do that beforehand because I want to hear you talk. But
Right.
I just kind of talked about your background and, your education and some of the awards that you have received and all the good things. But what I really want to start with is I wrote some stuff down because I was like, I need to be able to stay focused because I'll get on here and start talking to you and go somewhere else.
Right. Same.
So this is what I want to know. So after all of the things that you've accomplished in leadership, in youth development, from being one of the women that was named, Spartanburg's 40 under 40 and leading countywide collaboratives, I want to know what has been one of the most defining moments in your leadership journey, and then what did it teach you about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for that question. So, I mean, when I was reflecting on that, I don't think it's necessarily a certain accomplishment that I had. I really started reflecting on the role that I was in before I transitioned into the Spartanburg academic movement, because I had been there for about 4 years. I had great relationships. I was leading a team that I loved, that I had built a rapport with. But as I've gotten more mature, I've learned this feeling of like tension and something new is happening, and I didn't quite understand it at that time. And I now know that God was shifting me to move in that moment. It was
Yeah.
so hard for me to figure out, like, okay, I feel like there's a tug on my heart, but it doesn't make sense for me to transition at this time in my leadership journey. I had taken on more responsibility in my role. The organization was shifting in structure, and so they had already identified some areas that I could go into, but it didn't feel right. And so I started looking for new opportunities, and I just felt like I didn't want to disappoint people. Like I didn't want to disappoint the people I was leading. I still have close relationships there. I felt like I grew up at this organization too, because I had worked there a couple of times in college, and it was just one of those places where I felt like there was a connection beyond the work that I was doing. And so I was just like, Lord, I really need your guidance on this. And I felt like there wasn't a specific go or direction. And I think what I now know is that sometimes that peace or confidence doesn't come until you start to just walk in it. And so I made that decision to go to the organization that I am now. I'm at the Spartanburg Academic Movement now. But it took a lot of wrestling and like being okay with not feeling at peace in that moment, and really believing and having faith that God was going to move with me and provide that peace. And so even when I look back now, I've started to learn what that feeling is like when God is tugging on me, and maybe there's not a specific direction that I have been given, but God is like, just trust me. I've showed this to you before. Just trust me. And the pieces don't always line up for you. Like, it didn't feel like it made sense. But it made sense after I moved. And sometimes you got to move, and then God's like, all right, thank you for being faithful. I'll give you some more of the picture. So.
Oh, wow. Savannah, that is so good, girl. Like I said, I'm not going to try to lean into anything you say. I'm going to try not to, because you just shared so many nuggets right there about even just making the move when the move does not make sense. And then when you said it didn't make sense till after I made the move. And there are so many, and especially because this month I'm really focusing on women, but there are so many women that are in that space, whether they're in their 20s, whether they're in their 60s. And it's kind of like, what do I do? And so thank you for saying that, because somebody's on the ledge right now. And I can say that somebody's on the ledge. They're at the end of this, toward the end of this year. And, as we're getting ready for 2026, they're saying, I'm not going to be the same this time next year, but they won't be willing to take that step. So thank you for sharing that. As you were talking, you kind of brought up this level of faith that you have. And I want to say hello to those of you that are joining us. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Lady V. Hi, Jasmine. We know you're on here, girl. We will see you soon.
Hey.
And so yes, I'm so glad y'all are joining us. And so when you brought up, there's this knowing in you, you talk about your faith. I want to know how, because a lot of women need to know this. How do you allow your faith, and how does your faith really shape the way that you lead in professional spaces? Because some people think that their faith has to be so loud and I've got to bring the Bible in and I've got to try to preach to everybody when that's not what they're paying you to do there. And so for you, I want to know, how do you allow your faith to shape who you are as a professional woman and how you lead in that space?
No, I love that. Well, I mean, the first thing that pops in my mind is leading with love. Like,
Mm,
God outlines what love looks like. And I know that when I think about my family, they see you at your best and your worst, but the amount of time that you spend with your coworkers, they see you at your best and your worst too.
good.
And that doesn't exempt you with leading and really approaching situations with love, being patient,
Mm,
being kind. And then another thing that just stands out to me is the fact that God so loved the world that he gave. And so there's
mm,
a cost associated to that too. I was just thinking about this the other day. An example, I had a really busy day, and I knew I had 1 hour in between meetings to get
mm.
work done. And as soon as I sat down, there was another person at my organization who's been here a couple years, and she said, "Hey, do you have a minute?" And I was
Woo.
like, "Ooh, do I have
Yes.
a minute?" In my head, I said, "I have an hour, and a minute is never a minute. Just know that,
Right.
like, a minute is never a minute." But the Holy Spirit checked me and was like, "What does it mean for you to give and love in this moment?" And it meant that I had to take away or not think about what I had set in my head in that 1 hour, and to devote some time, because she just wanted to run some things by me. And I really appreciate it. She said, "I look up to you in this organization. I look up to
Mm,
you as a person who looks like me." And I'm like, what if I would have taken that moment to be like,
right.
"We'll talk later," but she needed my consultation for a meeting that she was going to be in. So when I
Mm,
think about my faith, it's just like praying before the day to, even though I'm not going to be showing my Bible everywhere,
right.
how do I allow the Holy Spirit and God to just flow through me, to know that there are costs associated with love, to give.
Mm,
I think another thing, just allowing excellence to be the standard. Like, this is
mm,
not just a job. I'm doing this to serve the community. I work in a space that is associated with youth and families, but I'm doing this to the Lord, and no task that I'm doing should I just be doing it haphazardly. Like,
right.
I certainly believe that excellence is a standard. And then finally, just giving people grace. Like, we talk a lot at this organization about failing forward, and there are not a lot of easy answers. And so being open to the grace that God has given us to share that with
Mhm.
other people when they make missteps. So yeah, I think love,
Woo.
excellence being the standard, failing forward with grace, and just being a person of your word, like a person of integrity. So yeah.
I love, love, love. Guys, did y'all hear that? I mean, letting excellence be the standard. I mean, everybody can take that to whatever organization, whatever space that you lead in, that excellence should be the standard at all times. And I love how you explained to us about love and what love can look like, because you're exactly right. When, like you said, I've got this set time and somebody comes in that door, we don't ever know what missed opportunity that we had because we were so focused on just getting the task done and not
Right.
keeping the focus on people. And you're absolutely right. That's another example of integrity. So you set me up for my next question. Is for those of you that are on and that will watch, Savannah and I got to know each other better. Hey, my husband just joined us too. Hey, baby. But Savannah was a part of the Integrity Without Compromise program, and which she graduated in 2024. And that is kind of the reason why I'm doing this. That particular class, I mean, to be specific, was the class that made me know, like, let's take this further. Yes, this is a program that's semi-focused on discipleship, but I was facing women in that class that were leaders, that are, those that already walking in integrity in different areas of their lives. And now this new iteration of Integrity Without Compromise is directly for the professional woman. So what I want to know, your time in the integrity program, what was something when you went through it? How did that experience add to your personal growth and to your leadership perspective? Because you came into it, I would say, already at a space that you're pretty chiseled. So when you get around these other women, or even being with me during that time, how did it add to your growth? Because I feel like you're one of those that already has so many things. So how did it add to you? Hey,
Yeah,
Ashanti.
yeah. I mean, I think that I was really hungering for the discipleship piece of it. I think that there are a lot of disciplines in my life, and I love leadership, and there are a lot of things that I can do on my own. But it's just different when you have a coach and you have somebody else who's walking alongside you, like yourself. So, I mean, you were just an incredible asset to that journey. And I think an answered prayer, I literally had shared with Jasmine, who also was in that class and who was my accountability partner, like what I was desiring. And this opportunity came along, and I was like, Lord, thank you so much, because He heard that I was just yearning for somebody to pour into me. And so I think that you pouring in was so crucial. The way you challenged us to get into the Word, the way we really dug into purpose. So, I mean, I still have my purpose statement, and I am really grateful that I'm at a point in my professional career where I'm getting more opportunities and people want you to do. But I've started filtering my yeses through that purpose statement, and that is
Yes.
so key to me. So, I mean, I say thank you for that, because a lot of times you need to do something. Self development is really important, but until you
Mm-hmm.
have a group that can hold you accountable, until you have a coach like the way you were coaching us to hold you accountable, it's just a totally different experience. So, I mean, I just think about that catapulting me and calling me higher. I think an additional to my personal growth, because I felt like God was showing me my potential more during
Yeah.
that time. Like He challenged me to some areas of healing that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the I knew that there were things that I needed to take care of, but He really said, like, look, Savannah, if you're going to go to the next level, that this is the time. And I think I even called you and had a
Mm-hmm.
conversation. It's kind of like, if not now, when, girl? Let's
When?
go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that you said multiple times, like, do it scared.
Mm-hmm.
That really resonated with me. So, I mean, just to summarize, just your coaching, the accountability structure, the fact that I had a one-on-one. I mentioned Jasmine, who was my accountability. It was just packaged so well, and like I said, an answered prayer to my personal growth and my professional development all at one time.
Wow. Oh, bless you for that. Look, I'm actually going to read something because and I'm not going to keep you all day. I know you're at work, but I have to read this because when you brought up just the purpose statement, and us ladies, while we were on there, I mean, we were having to work that statement out. I mean,
We were.
everybody was like trying to get it. And I know I was getting on y'all's last nerve, like, you need another word. You need to change that. And thank you for those of you that are joining us live. We're so glad to see you. But I have down what is almost like your professional purpose type statement. It may not be word for word, but I want to share it because as I've talked about you before you got on, I think that this is powerful and it's professional, but it also is very personal. And what we have down for you is that you, Savannah, are committed to building scalable, equity-driven systems that support youth and families, ensuring every young person, regardless of their zip code, has access to opportunity, mentorship, and belonging. And it does my heart something so good to not just read this, but to know that you live this. And so for those of you that are even watching now and you're like, okay, we've used this big buzzword of purpose, but no, Savannah, you are literally walking this thing out and living it out loud. And so another thing that I wanted to know, because as I'm looking at those words and those statements, is that during our time together with integrity, without compromise, we also took those first 2 weeks to do some core clarity work.
Mm-hmm.
And this was my first group getting to work through core clarity before we went into the depth of integrity without compromise. And your top 5 talents, of course, that stood out were achiever, positivity, relator, competition, and also maximizer. And I'm like, if these are not right on when it comes to you, and for those of you that want to know more about core clarity, please just DM me and I'll talk to you about it. But I want to know, what was your thought? Because it's not just about taking an assessment. We took that assessment and then we built it into this core clarity framework. And then we spent 2 weeks really focusing in on those talents. So I want to know, after going through that core clarity piece and how you understand your strengths and your talents, how has that helped also to navigate your career, your relationships, and even your personal development now that you know those talents?
Yeah, I mean, that was so enlightening because I think it's so easy to focus on your insecurities in areas where you feel like you're weak, particularly as women. But when you have your core clarity and when you have those areas that you can look at and say, these are my strengths, it's like, okay, how do I build these muscles and lean
Yeah.
into the areas that I already know are strengths? And I really like the exercise. We talked about like what gives us energy, what drains
Hmm.
us, and that was really helpful for me as well. So when we talk about like achiever, relator, maximizer, all of those things that are in my top 5, I've really spent some time devoting to how do I feed those areas and make
Good.
sure that I'm growing in there instead of focusing on the areas that I know I'm not as good in, or not necessarily as good in. It's just that they're not top on my list.
Right.
And so
Right.
it was really a beautiful marriage because I took that first with you, and then we actually did an assessment at work, and we've been honing in on strengths finders for the last year or so. And so
Wow.
I had already started that work with you, and it just flowed so beautifully in the development that we're doing at work. So I've been continuing to hone in on those 5 areas and say, look, you might not be top in strategy, but girl, you know how to knock out a to-do list.
I know,
So
hey, I know that's
how,
right.
how can I work with the person that I lead and look at her strengths, and we say like, look, we're very complementary. Let's
Yes.
maximize the way we work together because I know that I can create some goals and make sure that we stay on time, and I can get with you who's the
Mm.
strategist, and we can create a plan and go. Like we can go. So it's just been really beautiful. I love it. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to it now,
That's great.
having my strengths. So I'm grateful that you integrated that into the
Mhm.
course that we had together because it was beautiful and I truly do use it. So,
Good. I love that. I love that. And hey to you guys that are jumping on. I know a lot of you know Savannah. That's why you're jumping on. So hi, Lacey, and hey to J Creative Consulting, all of that. Everybody's so beautiful that's even getting on here. Girl, do you have people around you that ain't fly? Because they're all fly that's jumping on here. So I'm so glad. And J Creative Consultant said, indeed, it's hard to really build our strengths and find opportunities to do them in real life. In today's time, people don't want to just start and do with fear of failure. And you're absolutely right. And that's what it's about. And I won't get on my soapbox here, but that's what it's about, is finding that sweet spot where you're able to really lean, and as Savannah said, into the place that gives you energy. And for you to be able to be in a space that gives you energy and doesn't just drain you, and you're getting paid to do it, you're like, y'all are paying me to do what I love and what comes out of me naturally. And so this is a beautiful thing. Hey, Jernisha, I see your hand there. Jernisha is also an alumni of Integrity Without Compromise. And so I love the fact that you brought that in. And one of the key points is we always have. I don't even know where it came from. I'm a former college coach, so I get it. But sometimes we want to pull people in and say, we need to work on your weakness. This is the area that you're not strong. And we waste a lot of time and we don't move the needle. So,
right.
but we move the needle when people are doing their thing that I didn't even have to think. I just do it because it naturally comes from me. And that's where you're the most celebrated as well, because people, like you said, sit back and say, how do you do that? And I love your example. You were like, honey, you are so strategic, but I will work this to-do list. And I'm with you on that.
Yes.
Because Savannah and I share our number one talent out of the 34. Our number one is achiever. So you're speaking my language with that orange energized talent. So I love it. Well, listen, I also want to know this, especially because we got some ladies on with us and those that will jump on later. I want to know when you think about even being a professional woman and your experience, if there was a woman on right now or somebody that watches this later and they just keep saying, I'm just stuck, like I'm stuck, I'm unsure of my next move, I don't know what to do, how would you encourage them or give them something to encourage them about walking in integrity and walking in purpose and walking in confidence when they just feel like they're stuck?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've been in that position, and I think a lot of times we get so paralyzed we just don't move at all. And
Mm,
my encouragement would be like, what do you know? What information have you been given, and how can you move with what you do know? And
wow.
like I said earlier, when you like do it scared, sometimes that courage and that confidence is not going to come until you make the first step, and then that's when the picture starts to become clear. So I would say you have something like what is in your hand, what is in your view, what can you pull on to help you take just one step, not even two, but one step. And I promise you, like God is going to be there. But sometimes He is just waiting for that faith for you to take that move and to move out of paralysis for Him to say, like, boom, let's go. I got you.
Let's
Let
go.
me tell you some more.
Ooh, I love that. Guys, did you hear that? To move out of paralysis. And that's the thing, too. Sometimes we are the ones that put that paralysis on ourselves. I lock my
Right.
own legs down. So I can relate to that totally as well. And so, look, I'm not going to keep you because you are a professional woman, you are at work, but I wanted to share with you two things. There's some I want to share with you, and then there's something I want to end with. But real quick, what did Janisha said, oh my God, I live by do it scared. Absolutely. And then I don't want to miss Lacey. Lacey said, I love when our passions align with our daily roles and responsibilities and when we have the freedom to do so in the workplace. I totally agree. There is nothing like that, to be really honest with you. There's nothing like it. So I'm gonna stop touching the screen because evidently I'm doing something I don't need to do. But what I wanted to share with you is for those of you that may have missed that, I've already said this, that Savannah was a part of the Integrity Without Compromise program last year in 2024. And she is an alumni of the program. And so the ladies, one of the things we do at graduation each year is there's always someone that stands up on behalf of the group to basically share what their experience was. And she wrote the most powerful. I mean, the reason I'm sharing this is because what you wrote, your words meant so much. And I'm trying to do this without crying. When I get to a space, which sometimes is often, it's been often the last 18 months, when I get to a space that I am at that scared spot, when I am at that space that I'm like, I don't know what to do next, or I know what to do next, but I don't want to step out and look dumb.
Right,
Whatever. I'm
right.
just being real.
That's
I
real.
don't, I'm not an expert. Like, what do I need to do? But I use your words to go back and read. And when I read it, I find myself taking that step scared. So I want to personally and publicly thank you for that. There were so many little intimate things that you wrote within what you shared that day that no one, and I mean this, I don't care if it's been at church, it could have been a prophet, it could have been my mama, it could have been whatever, but no one has ever written or spoke words that spoke directly to me as a woman. And I want to say thank you for that. I pull it up so often just to remind myself of who I am. And so thank you for that. Thank you for coaching me through that moment. I really appreciate that. And then the other thing that I want to end with before I get you to end with something is for ladies that watch this and that are watching this right now, one of the things during integrity that I would say is that my uncle, now y'all, we just talking here, and they know my Uncle Charles, I always talk about my Uncle Charles, and one of the things he used to say was, let's get drunk and be somebody. That's what he would say. And so I was like, and I was very, very young when he would do that. And so when he said that, he really was looking for people to say who they wanted to be. So I remember one day we were either at a family reunion or something, and he made the statement, and here I am, probably 13 or whatever years old, and I run around and I say, he said, Natalie, who are you going to be? And I was like, I'm going to be Condoleezza Rice. And I didn't even know what that meant. But I just knew that I wanted to be a Black woman that knew what she stood for, that was powerhouse, that was smart, intelligent, was not easily moved no matter what room she was in. And so I would always say that. But I want to share with you, Savannah, you are going to be and are one of those women that 13-year-old is going to say when somebody says, not let's get drunk and be somebody, but when they say, who do you want to show up as? Who is someone that you can look at and say, I would like to mimic how she shows up? And I believe that you are one of those women that people are going to say, today I'm going to be Savannah Ray. You know, I feel that. I feel that. And I told you during graduation, my hashtag for you is I vote for Savannah because you have my vote in every area of your life. You're amazing, and God really does have his hand on your life in so many different ways. And I thank you that you're a woman of no excuses. And I love that about you, whether it is in your professional walk, whether it's in your purpose walk, even in your friendships, your family. We get to see you move in a way that has become uncommon. And so you are an uncommon woman, and you are a woman of great consequence. And I am simply blessed to know you. So thank you for taking this time to be with me. And is there any parting words that you want to give to anybody before we close out today?
I just love you.
I love you too. I love you too. Thank you. I love you too.
And I love everybody who is either a part of this live or who will listen. I mean, just know that you're loved and like we're built to do and be incredible. And I truly believe that. And let's just walk in it.
Let's walk in it. I love it. All right, sister, I enjoyed you so much. And again, for those of you that are watching on the replay, thank you so much for joining us. And those of you that were live with us today, thank you. Go back and listen again because there were some things that Savannah shared that I think that you really need to let stick with you. But guys, have a great rest of the week and happy Monday to everybody. And Savannah, I will talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, bye.